Hello and happy Friday afternoon. So I'm back again. I figured my first project was super simple, easy, and I already got feedback that people love simple, easy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pop on again and give you some more inspiration doing another super simple layout card. And once again, having pretty paper steal the show, do all the hard work by impressing people with how pretty something is just by gluing on a piece of paper. So let me get my camera turned around. Hello there, my sweet friend. How are you today? So simple is the key word of the day. After having a big stamp camp yesterday, I'm just pulling out some projects that are simple and going with that. And hopefully next week I can tackle the ones that take a few more steps, and I'll be ready to show you those as well. So here we have the pretty paper from the Moonlit Flora suite. So from the Stampin' Up! Catalog here on pages 34, you can see the pretty paper. Here I didn't go with the stamps or the dies, even though I really like them, and I'm kind of like, oh, should I have gotten that? I also got the embossing folder, and I really like that one as well, and have played around with it with different colors. And here you can see that coordinating embossing folder just done in white, and I'm debating about coming up with a project, just taking a blending brush and going over that, because it has such nice deep grooves in that embossing folder. Kind of seeing where I can go with that. I've always got next ideas going in my mind and that can get me in trouble sometimes too, because I have so many. So I'm like I said, using the paper from there, and then as you can see, there's kind of a nice little black floral accent here, and those can easily be missed. I'm going to point those out. They're shown here in the same catalog on page 72. They're the floral flight accents, and I'll show you more about that as I get going with my card here. And let me just show you this if you want to screenshot it with kind of the recipe of everything needed that I used in today's card, so that you can have that as a reference too. And I always show that on my still shot of my card when I'm done. And since this is the first time using this paper, I also kind of like to show that off, because this is worth showing off. Just the dark greens just make the light greens and the white pop so beautifully. And so we've got this as our starting point. And this has kind of like a soft look to it, kind of a fern look. And I want to point that out because this is where I got that pattern that goes underneath the sentiment that I'll show when I stamp there. So that's the back side of there. Sometimes we forget that we can stamp on pretty paper as well. So I've got that, and then it's got just some pretty green leaves in there too, and putting in some golden glow, that new color. So here again, bringing us the new in colors, Peaceful Pine, Golden Glow. Oops. And then just seeing this. I love that my card that I'm making today can almost be used with 3 or 4 different pieces of this designer series paper. So if you want to make a whole stack of cards, you could just kind of keep cutting up all these, and the designs and kind of focal points of the different colors might be a little different, but it all works really well together. And here we've got that nice pop of pink in there, and then here we've got some greenery with the pink. Let me look in the back, because now I'm curious. Berry Burst, that's what I thought it was. And I already have ideas to use for this, because it's a little bit of a smaller pattern, so I can't wait to use that. And then here we've got just kind of a nice subtle background again. And here we have more of just the fern look that kind of almost looks like it copies that embossing folder that I just showed you too. And Secret Sea in here, which you guys know I love. Just kind of a nice, almost masculine pattern there too. So very pretty paper. I know you guys will love it. Like I said, I just feel like, wow, Stampin' Up! Every once in a while they hit a winner with new paper, and then I see this and I'm just like, everything in this new catalog just looks so nice. So all right, so this is what I'm going to show you, kind of just my color inspiration here. I'm going with basic black, and I'll explain that in a little bit. I was going to go with a deeper color, even the Peaceful Pine, Mossy Meadow, something like that. Originally, I kind of started with some of the Retiring Peach Pie to see if that would kind of go together, or bring in some orange, and it just looked too orangey. I just didn't really care for how that looked. And then when I decided to finally add the floral flight accents that are black, I thought, okay, the card base is going to be black. So I like to kind of go through my thought process in case you're wondering, like, how does a person go about starting, and why does Belle go where she goes with her colors and such. So that's why it makes sense to me, and maybe it does to you, or maybe you go a different reason or a different way for a different reason, and that's totally fine too. So we've got our basic black opening this way, and then I did that paper saving technique here again on this card because I needed a 2-inch circle. So what I did for everybody is just punched out a 2-inch circle out of everybody's piece that they'd be using of the soft sea foam for class, and then I just take and cover it up with this piece of paper so nobody knows that's there. Saves a little paper and saves a little bulk if you're mailing it, and then we can just get ready to taping that down. So my soft sea foam here measures 4 by 5 1/4, and then this is just going to be that next quarter step down, 1/4 inch step down. So this is 3.75 by 5, and now this is ready to go on our card too. Oops. I knew that was going to happen pretty soon. I go through a lot of my adhesive, but I always feel like, you know, it never hurts to show you like the pit crew behind the scenes version of how easy this is to just pull that apart, toss the cartridge, put the new one in, give it a good squeeze shut, and we're good to go. Not quite as fast as the pit crews in the racing, but still I can do it pretty fast. Hi there, Lynette. Good to see you on here. All right, so now this is ready to go, and I just love how the soft sea foam pops on that basic black background or base of the card like so. And let's do a little bit of stamping. So the ink choice that I used was Mossy Metal. I wanted the darkest green that we had since I was going to be stamping on the designer series paper. Here you can see that that's one of the pieces from here, and I wanted something dark to pop even though that designer series paper has a light background. And then so I don't waste any, like I don't know exactly where to stamp, and I want to make sure I allow enough room to. I'm just going to take that next smaller punch, the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. And actually for class, sometimes people have a tough time, or depending on the reflection, can't see the measurements of a punch. So for me, doing one of the punches ahead of time, the 2-inch, I just allowed them to use the 1 3/4 inch circle punch, so they didn't have to go, now which smaller, which bigger. Sometimes math like that is hard for some people, but not everybody. So I just thought, you know what, let's take away one confusing element and keep the card as simple as it really is. So from the sending salutation out to a marvelous person on their birthday, and then I can just flip that over, and yes, here we've got some dimensionals, and just put some dimensionals on there. I'm actually going to do kind of a double pop-up. This is going to be popped up on that soft sea foam piece here, like so. And I'm saying now, okay, now it looks like it's caught up. So these come pre-cut, so they're nice die cuts, accent pieces, very sturdy, almost a little bit thicker than cardstock, but not thicker as far as bulk, but just the sturdiness of it just is, it's very stable. And so this comes 6 by 12, and here I'll show you the packaging so that you can get all that information here too. Floral Flight Accents, and then it comes in a nice bag, so in case, because they're die cuts, if any shake off out of the sheet into the package, it'll be easily saved with a nice enclosure there too, so that you can press and zip after you've used some of the pieces too. So I like laying out things like this for class, so then they can kind of pick and choose. Do they want some hearts on there? Do they want some butterflies? Do they want some of the greenery? I kind of just did a little bit of greenery on mine, and I just put a little sprig because the paper's so pretty. I didn't want to cover that up too much. some of the pieces here, like this one is a pretty large piece, and you can like poke out the flowers and such. So some people just cut out pieces, bits and pieces of this, and put that behind their sentiment too. So I kind of liked checking back on that station to see exactly what was going on and how people were decorating. So I'm just gonna pull out this piece here, and things like this I always try to be careful so I don't, especially when it's like half below and half above there. I'm not too terribly nervous about this compared to some, because like I said, it is really nice and sturdy. Just gonna poke out these extra pieces here that I don't want on my card. Let's see, make sure that that's out of there. There we go. It's completely out. Yeah, so you just get the one sheet. That's what I wanted to let you know too. Just the one sheet comes with that. I put out like 3 just because of the size of the class yesterday with 28 people. I didn't want to limit them with, okay, guess what? You're the last one, so you have to have hearts and such. So I try and keep an eye on the stations as I go. And even today, I hope that people didn't run out of embellishments and that too. So I try and count and have that prepared, but it's always good to have happy people and have projects that turn out just the way that they want them to. Oh, thanks, Pam. I do enjoy designing and sharing that with you guys. So for this, I could easily just probably plan on it because of the size, sticking to one of the dimensionals back there, but just to make sure, it's not going to need a lot of extra adhesive, but just by putting like one glue dot on the back side here. Gosh, this is a good day for using up adhesives. I think that is done. That's going to go in the trash. So I'm just going to kind of hold it there before I press it down, just to make sure that that's where I want it before I do that. Okay, and then I'm just going to put, that's going to press the glue dot, and then also put my sentiment on there with my dimensionals, and we have that sticking up there too. Now in this suite of products, they've got some great embellishments here. These are called the Dewdrops embellishments, and just beautiful colors to go with that. And so I'm just going to pick some of these lighter green ones out. I think even the blue on here, there's not really blue on my card, but like any of our embellishments that kind of have that clear tone, it's always fun to see kind of how that can take on a different color just by putting it on the pretty papers and such. So I'm going to take a large one and a small one, and then go back and just grab another small one. So it's kind of funny too, on here it looks kind of yellow green, but then once it gets on our paper, it just kind of turns that darker green because of how clear it is, and then the colored paper underneath it. So that's why I love our embellishments. They just coordinate so well with so many of our projects in a nice, easy way. Now for the inside, I'm just going to take my 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white, and let's see, I wanted this to continue to be a happy birthday, so I switched stamp sets. I went to phrases and frames. That's a new stamp set too in this catalog, and in there it has happiest birthday wishes, and I just kind of like how that is laid out with the happiest and then the birthday wishes like that. And then I wanted something to tie together this. This just, sometimes I'm fine with this just being in the inside. This time I wanted to add something with a little bit of like fern-looking greenery. And I went, oh yes, that Friendly Foliage stamp set has just that little kind of twiggy piece there that kind of just fits the look and feel of this paper. And that's where people might say, well, Belle, if you would have just got the bundle that goes with the paper, you would have the perfect sentiments, and you wouldn't need 3 stamp sets like I did for this stamp set, and to add that. But I also like showing people how you can make do and think outside the box with other things too. Not saying I won't get the bundle because like it's weighing on my mind. But I just got so many things from this catalog already. So that I felt like this is gonna work. And I know a lot of you really liked the Friendly Foliage because of the fun cutout dies and everything with that too. Or you may have other things that tie in with ferns and such, because Stampin' Up! Has done some other fern-like and foliage type dies and stamps and such too. So I love it when we can just maybe freshen up those things with some new paper too. So hopefully this gives you some inspiration. Like I said, really easy layout with that. And like I said, these new floral flight accents are kind of fun in that black color to really make your projects pop. So there you have it. I hope that you guys are inspired. Switch screens to black. There we go. So I hope you guys get some inspiration from Belle Harder inspiring others. And I also hope that you have a great weekend and have fun plans after the rain today. Maybe you guys can get outside and enjoy some of that too. So take care. See you later. Bye-bye.